So I remember this one time, my wife mentioned her ex-boyfriend. Now, I don't know what it is about exes, but even if she says his name once every 5 years, it's like it echoes in your brain for eternity. She's like, yeah, Jason used to run marathons. And I'm like, cool, I jog emotionally. But here's the truth, that's where I learned one of the most powerful lessons in marriage and in life. You can't compete with someone else's story when you haven't even finished writing your own. The more I tried to win, the more I realized I wasn't proving anything to her. I was just reminding myself of what I didn't believe yet, that I was enough. So I started to laugh about it, because that's what marriage teaches you. You either laugh together, or you fight about who's right. And let me tell you, nobody ever won an argument in marriage. Even if you win, you still lose. That day, I realized something. Insecurity doesn't go away because someone validates you, it fades when you finally believe you're already valuable. Confidence isn't loud, it's quiet. It's when you can smile, let go, and say, yeah, her ex ran marathons, but I make her laugh. And laughter, my friends, that's the finish line that actually matters. Insecurity often wears the mask of humor because laughter feels safer than vulnerability. When people joke about themselves, it's not always because they find it funny. Sometimes it's a shield, a way to control how others see their flaws before anyone else can point them out. Humor gives insecurity a costume, turning pain into punchlines and weakness into wit. It becomes easier to laugh off discomfort than to admit it exists. Many people learn early that being funny earns acceptance, so they hide their fears beneath perfectly timed jokes. The smile distracts from the uncertainty. The laughter covers the trembling. In conversations, they'll make fun of their looks, their failures, or their relationships before anyone else gets the chance. It's not always about comedy, it's about protection. They hope that if everyone laughs, no one will look closely enough to see what's real. But the truth is, humor doesn't erase insecurity. It only disguises it long enough to survive another day. Beneath every laugh, there's often a quiet voice asking for validation, wondering if they're enough without the joke, searching for peace behind the punchline. Learning that humor can hide the wound, but never heal it. Confidence doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It begins when you stop fighting who you are. Acceptance is the foundation where real strength is built because it allows you to stand in your truth without fear of judgment. When you accept yourself, the flaws, the awkwardness, the mistakes, the quiet victories, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. The pressure to perform fades, and in its place grows a calm assurance that you are enough. Acceptance isn't laziness, it's clarity. It's looking in the mirror and saying, this is me right now, and that's okay. From that place, growth feels natural, not forced. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, and carry yourself with quiet power because your confidence isn't borrowed from praise or comparison. It's rooted in self-understanding. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop improving. It means you stop hating the process of becoming. It teaches you to move forward with patience instead of perfectionism. Every person who truly shines does so not because they have no flaws, but because they've made peace with them. Real confidence is silent, steady, and unshakable because it grows from within, from the simple truth that you have nothing left to hide. When your focus is on competition, your energy is scattered outward instead of inward. Growth demands self-awareness, patience, and humility, but competition feeds comparison, ego, and insecurity. You can't fully evolve while constantly measuring yourself against someone else's progress because every step you take becomes about winning, not learning. Competing makes you chase validation instead of mastery. It keeps you running faster, but not necessarily farther. Growth, on the other hand, is quiet work. It happens when you pause long enough to understand your weaknesses and nurture your potential. It's not about being better than others, but being better than you were yesterday. When you compete, your mind looks sideways. When you grow, your mind looks inward. True success doesn't come from outshining others. It comes from becoming who you were meant to be. You can't build something authentic while comparing it to someone else's blueprint. The moment you stop competing, you free yourself to learn, to fail, to rise without fear. of judgment. Growth flourishes in peace, not pressure. It's in those moments of self-reflection and honesty that you discover what really matters and realize the race was never with anyone else. It was always with the person. In the mirror, comparison steals the quiet contentment that makes life feel whole. The moment you measure yourself against someone else, you shift your focus from your own journey to theirs, and peace begins to slip away. It doesn't matter how accomplished, talented, or happy the other person seems. Your mind finds ways to feel inadequate, and your heart begins to weigh under invisible pressure. Comparison creates an endless cycle of not enough, where every achievement feels small and every failure feels enormous. It turns gratitude into envy and joy into frustration. Even success loses its sweetness because it is constantly measured against someone else's milestones. The problem is that no two journeys are the same. No one else walks in your shoes, faces your challenges, or bears your scars. When you compare, you ignore your unique path and dismiss the lessons you've earned. True peace comes from recognizing your own progress, celebrating your own victories, and honoring your own pace. It comes from understanding that life is not a leaderboard, and worth is not determined by how you stack up next to someone else. Peace blooms when you stop looking sideways and start walking forward on your own terms. Marriage is not about keeping score or proving who is right. It's about working together toward a shared life. When couples treat marriage like a competition, every disagreement becomes a battle, every difference a point to be won, and every mistake an opportunity to blame. That mindset creates tension, resentment, and distance because both partners are focused on themselves rather than the relationship. Cooperation, on the other hand, builds connection, trust, and resilience. It means listening even when you disagree, supporting even when it's inconvenient, and choosing compromise over pride. In a cooperative marriage, victories are shared and struggles are faced as a team, not as opponents. It requires humility, patience, and a willingness to put the relationship above individual ego. Cooperation doesn't mean giving up your identity. It means creating space for both partners to grow while nurturing the bond that holds you together. It's about asking, how can we solve this together? Instead of, how can I win this? True partnership thrives on empathy, understanding, and shared effort. The most enduring marriages are not those where one person dominates, but those where both individuals contribute, adapt, and celebrate life together, realizing that love is strengthened when two hearts pull in the same direction. Every weakness carries within it the seeds of wisdom. If only we are willing to look closely and learn from it. When we stumble, fail, or feel inadequate, those moments often reveal truths about ourselves that comfort and success never could. Weakness exposes our limitations, but it also exposes opportunities for growth, reflection, and self-improvement. It teaches humility, patience, and empathy, qualities that strength alone cannot cultivate. The mistakes we make, the fears we face, and the vulnerabilities we try to hide all contain lessons about resilience, perspective, and the value of perseverance. Recognizing weakness is not an admission of failure, it is a doorway to understanding and mastery. Every time we confront what we cannot do, we gain insight into what we must learn, which decisions to make, and how to navigate life with greater clarity. Those who embrace their weaknesses rather than deny them discover strategies for overcoming challenges, deeper self-awareness, and a more compassionate view of others who struggle. Over time, repeated reflection transforms discomfort into skill, error into experience, and insecurity into confidence. Weakness, when acknowledged and explored, becomes a teacher, offering guidance and perspective that no easy victory could ever provide. The person you're meant to be moves through life with quiet confidence, not because the world has declared them worthy, but because they have learned to trust themselves. They don't feel the need to prove their value to anyone because their sense of purpose and self-worth comes from within. Constantly seeking validation from others can be exhausting, distracting, and ultimately empty. But when you embrace who you truly are, the pressure to perform or compete fades. Being authentic means making choices aligned with your values, not with what will impress someone else. It means walking your path, even if it looks different from the paths of those around you, and finding fulfillment in growth, contribution, and self-awareness. People who are secure in themselves understand that their worth is inherent, not earned through comparison, accolades, or recognition. They accept mistakes as part of the process and celebrate small victories without needing approval. Living without the need to prove yourself frees your mind and heart to focus on meaningful connections, creative endeavors, and personal growth. It allows you to act with integrity, make bold decisions, and embrace life fully, knowing that your presence and contributions are already enough. True strength is not measured by how loudly you assert yourself or by how many victories you accumulate, but by how gracefully you carry yourself when life is pressing down on you. It shows up in the ability to remain humble, even when praised, to acknowledge mistakes without shame, and to listen when others speak, even if you disagree. Strength under pressure is quiet, steady, and resilient, like a tree bending in the wind, but never breaking. It also includes the courage to maintain a sense of humor when circumstances are difficult, because laughter can lighten burdens, diffuse tension, and remind everyone involved that no problem is bigger than your ability to face it. Being funny in stressful moments doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means seeing the absurdity in challenges, finding light in the darkness, and refusing to let fear or frustration dictate your response. People who stay humble and funny under pressure inspire trust, empathy, and connection because they show that strength doesn't require arrogance or aggression. They demonstrate that resilience comes from perspective, patience, and the ability to navigate life with both courage and joy. Understanding that even serious moments can hold lessons wrapped in laughter, love thrives when ego steps aside, because ego often insists on being right, being first, or being noticed, while love seeks understanding, connection, and harmony. When two people allow pride, stubbornness, or the need to dominate to guide their actions, relationships become battlegrounds where resentment and frustration accumulate. But when ego takes a back seat, communication becomes clearer, hearts open wider, and compassion flows more freely. Choosing love over ego doesn't mean giving up your identity or ignoring your needs. It means prioritizing the bond, valuing the other person's feelings, and being willing to compromise without feeling diminished. Love asks us to listen more than we speak, to forgive more than we judge, and to act with patience instead of impulse. It reminds us that winning an argument is never as important as preserving trust and connection. True intimacy grows when both partners can let go of their pride, admit mistakes, and celebrate each other's victories without comparison. In life and relationships, the moments when we suppress our ego in favor of love are the moments that create lasting joy, deeper understanding, and stronger bonds, teaching us that humility and care always outweigh the desire to be right. So here's the thing. I spent a lot of time worrying about her ex, comparing myself, trying to win this imaginary contest I didn't even know I was in. And honestly, it was exhausting. But by the end of the day, I realized marriage isn't about winning or losing, and it sure isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, laughing at yourself, and choosing to love someone even when life is awkward, messy, or a little ridiculous. Confidence isn't about outshining anyone else. It's about being comfortable enough in your own shoes to make her laugh, make her feel safe, and yes, maybe even make yourself laugh too. So if you ever feel like you're competing with someone from the past, just remember, the only race that matters is the one where you're becoming the best version of yourself, flaws and all. And if you can do that while making someone smile, well, that's how you really win in life and in marriage, one laugh at a time.